The parents received their son from the war in a sealed zinc coffin. At the funeral, they heard a knock from the inside. They opened the coffin and turned pale. Enjoy watching. Please support us with a like and subscribe to our channel. There are many new stories ahead. Frost hit again. Winter didn't want to leave. The snow continued to cover the roads. The cold wind was blowing from the slightly open window. A young man was sitting at the table with his family and drinking tea, occasionally taking a bite of a sausage sandwich. Crumbs were falling on the table. A small black dog was running underfoot, waiting for something to fall to it. Fyodor, maybe you'll get a job at our factory. I'll take you on as my assistant at first, the head of the family said, and threw a sugar cube into his tea. Dad, you know I cannot. My decision is final. Besides, I have already signed all the documents. Let's not talk about it. The young man stroked the dog and looked at the pale faces of the family members. They didn't even touch the food. Well, Fyodor, you're with us now. Maybe you'll stay, huh? His sister said with hope. Don't leave us, please. We are worried about you, his mother responded. She got up from the table to wash the already clean plates. Okay, family, stop putting pressure on me. Fyodor clenched his fists. I've signed the documents. I'm leaving. That's it. Maybe we can talk about something else on the last day. When hearing the word last, his mother began to cry quietly, trying to hide her sobs behind the water sound. However, Fyodor still heard them, which made him even more uncomfortable. Then he tried to explain himself. Mom, that's my duty, don't you understand? He looked around his relatives again, but didn't find support. You must help your family and stay alive as long as possible. We raised you, took care of you, and educated you, his father said. That's your duty, but for now, you only strive to die. I will stay alive. Hey, please don't bury me so early. Fyodor looked at his parents, confused. His sister lowered her gaze somewhere to the table. I'll come back safe and sound, you'll see. I'll fulfill my duty and earn money. I'm trying for your sake. We don't need that money if you're dead. His father couldn't let up. He didn't believe his son would survive. You can find a job here. I know you should pay off the mortgage, other loans, and my sister's education. But we don't have enough money. That's a good way out. And it won't be my first time in contract service. Fyodor tried to get the family's support, but it didn't work out. Fyodor, we will manage somehow. Somehow! He suddenly raised his voice. A month ago, you weren't against it. You should have thought about that before. Quit, you'll find a job. His mother intervened, her eyes swollen from tears and her lips trembling. That's enough, you all. That's enough. If that's the case, I'll leave and don't hold me back. He got up from the table and moved to his room to get his bag. Where are you going at night? His father asked. To my friends. At least they won't judge me. Fyodor barked and left the apartment. The young man didn't want the family farewell dinner to end like that, but he couldn't control himself. They already buried him. Why were they doing that? Fyodor was also scared since it was his first military operation. He knew a lot, but, as they say, he had not yet been battle-tested. His heart was beating out of his chest, aching from tension, fear, and despair. He never went to see his friends, but was wandering around the town. The icy wind was chilling to the bone. Unfortunately, Fyodor couldn't find any 24-hour bars. That day, he needed support. Why didn't the guy go to his friends? They also tried to dissuade him, which he didn't like at all. So, he was winding through houses and alleys until he finally reached the meeting place at the appointed time. Well, there is no turning back, fighter. Fyodor said to himself to feel that someone was supporting him. He needed the approval of his family and didn't want them to behave like that. He could only think about it, so he didn't immediately notice that some of his colleagues pushed him to move to the car. It all happened to him in a fog. The guy even began to doubt whether he had done the right thing by signing a contract rather than choosing a job in trade or elsewhere. Fyodor hadn't decided what he wanted to do when there was a call-up to military service, where a pleasant-looking man in uniform offered the young soldier further work in the country's troops. When they got there, the sky became cloudy, as if someone was looking at them from the sky with some sadness and anxiety. All that was missing was rain. Instead, it was snowing heavily. Snowflakes quickly stuck to Fyodor's clothes, and his cheeks turned red from the cold. Fyodor saw a young soldier just like himself. He had a lush black mustache and deep blue eyes reminiscent of Lake Baikal. Fyodor's were brown. The young man took out his packed lunch, licked his lips, tried to open the chocolate bar, and clumsily dropped it into the dirt. Damn it, he swore and sadly lowered his gaze. Fyodor approached the blue-eyed man and handed him his chocolate bar. Huh? That's for me? The young soldier looked questioningly at Fyodor. Yes, take it. I don't want it, so you need it more. Well, the young soldier said, thank you. I love sweets so much, and that's what happened. He stamped his foot on the chocolate lying in the dirt. My name is Fyodor. What about you? So is mine. Fyodor was surprised. Whoa, namesake. Well, it's good luck. The second Fyodor was delighted. We'll need it here. We will. Fyodor looked at the sky. Tanks, cars, and other military equipment were passing nearby, frightening the people around. Thus, the guys began to communicate and quickly became friends. They had each other's back. The first soldier continued to share chocolates with the second Fyodor. One night, they were sitting at the table and talking. What do you like best, Fyodor? The first Fyodor asked. What do you mean, besides sweets? Well, yes, in life, the guy explained. In life? He thought. Don't tell anyone, they will laugh. I don't need that. They're teasing me for having a sweet tooth. Well, the first Fyodor froze in anticipation. Come on, tell me. I like baking. Baking? The first Fyodor laughed. Well, yes, like baking buns and pies. The second Fyodor began to move his hands as if kneading dough. My mom and I often did that while she was still alive. Her name was Lyubov. I still remember her golden curls, rough palms, and big eyes. He swallowed and was about to cry but restrained himself. Were her eyes the same as yours? The first Fyodor asked. Yes, the same. I have a dream. I want to open a bakery. I'll get money, and my whole life will improve. It will become measured and smooth. I wouldn't come here if I had a choice. I have another dream. I want to fulfill my duty to my homeland, the first Fyodor answered. But I also want to help my family with money to pay off debts. I understand. Do you want us to open a bakery if we return? I'll give you half of the business. The second Fyodor laughed and extended his hand. Are you in? Why not? What will I lose? Fyodor asked himself and shook his friend's hand. I agree. That's great. The second Fyodor smiled. He needed a friend he could rely on. For some reason, he couldn't become close friends with anyone since there were plenty of black sheep in the herd, if one could say so. Finally, the guy got a chance to change his life. The war would end, and he would open a bakery with his friend. Who would have thought that the soldiers were ordinary people with their desires and dreams? But how could they come true if someone never returns home alive? What if on the other side are the same people, deprived of the opportunity to do baking or anything else, something they love so much? However, they also have to be at war. Who knew what would happen if they could talk to each other like best friends and get to know each other better? How much it would change? There were sounds of shooting. People screamed. Like an anthill, everything began to move as a single organism. Everyone knew their duties. All that remained was to wait for orders. Alarm! Get up, guys! Someone senior in rank shouted. They're shooting at us, come on, you bastards! Run! Run! The lieutenant continued to shout. Bullets whistled overhead. There were explosions from grenades. The soldiers moved the tank to turn its firepower on the enemy. Orders continued to sound all around. Someone was wounded. Someone was laying breathless, with eyes from which life had gone forever. The first Fyodor was pulling away the wounded. The second Fyodor was covering his friend. The bullet almost hit his head and flew past the ear. Military doctors did everything they could to save the soldiers. The guys would never forget those terrible screams of people dying in agony. They felt so sorry for them. After all these events, the survivors would only have nightmares about what they had seen. But the shooting didn't stop. The guys had to return from the tent and shoot somewhere to the side. The smoke rose, and nothing was visible. Some dog was barking far in the distance. The first Fyodor rushed there. His mind went blank. He thought it was his Juchka barking. The young soldier didn't care his dog was so far away. He was coughing from the rising dust. His lungs seemed to get heavier. Fyodor hoped it was not chemical weapons, but only dust. He continued to move towards the barking. Bullets quickly ran through the cover position. Dash. Cover position. Another dash. The sound of a machine gun burst. And finally, Fyodor reached the desired location. A black dog looking like Juchka was lying behind a cold stone slab and barking furiously with its paw pressed by a stone. Part of the building had collapsed due to a tank or a grenade. Fyodor grabbed the heavy stone and moved it from the dog's paw. He took the dog and pressed it to him. The dog didn't resist. Some soldier appeared right in front of Fyodor and looked into his face. He stood, clutching the dog, not far from the cover. All he had to do was jump, but he couldn't make it if the enemy soldier fired. For some reason, the latter hesitated. Fyodor heard the sound of his heart beating. Knock, knock, knock. The enemy's actions seemed like slow motion. Pointing his barrel straight at Fyodor's face, the stranger looked first at Fyodor, then at the dog, and didn't know what to do. Fyodor felt something forcefully jerk him to the side. That was the second Fyodor who decided to follow his friend. They could hear bullets somewhere in the distance. "Why are you standing like that?" the second Fyodor shouted to cover the noise of the war. "Are you crazy? What if he shot you?" He couldn't let up. He didn't shoot for some reason. The first Fyodor mumbled, "Okay, who is this? And how?" "It's Juchka. She was lying under a stone. I took her." "Let's get out of here. We are changing our position. We need to retreat, temporarily," the second Fyodor said and dragged his friend out of there, along with Juchka. The soldiers were writhing on their beds. The doctors were running to one, then to the other. Two friends were resting on the ground and whispering. "Juchka?" the second Fyodor asked. "Well, yes. And why?" "That's my dog's name." The first Fyodor shrugged. They both laughed. Juchka was following them everywhere, limping but alive. The guy shared food with her, and she became a local mascot. Whenever the enemy came closer, she would bark or behave in a way to show that something had changed and they had to be careful. So, either retreating or moving forward, the soldiers continued their way. Fyodor wanted to contact his family and let them know he was okay, so they wouldn't worry, but he couldn't. "They are probably worried about me. Oh, what a pity we had such a poor farewell," he thought. The guy was also thinking about the incident with the dog. He couldn't understand why the soldier didn't shoot him. He had every chance to do that, but hesitated. Fyodor decided Juchka saved his life. "Do you know what scares me more than anything in the world?" the second Fyodor asked. "What?" The first Fyodor looked at him questioningly. "I'm not afraid of death, but of being buried alive," he whispered. "Why should it happen?" Fyodor was surprised. "I don't know, but I have the same dream." "Pay less attention to dreams. Better eat a chocolate bar." Fyodor once again handed him the sweet part of his ration. "Oh, thank you, my friend." There was another battle, the last one for the first Fyodor. His friend was covering him. Explosions were all around. The guys couldn't get used to that terrifying atmosphere of war, which never ceased to frighten them. Despite their fear, they continued to fulfill their duty. After dragging away another wounded soldier, Fyodor returned, nodded to the second Fyodor, and moved his hand to go forward. At that moment, a grenade exploded right in front of him. There was a ringing in the ears and a sudden squeak. Another explosion followed, very close, and another one, and the sound stopped. Juchka was not barking either. There was nothing. Endless emptiness swallowed it all. Meanwhile, Fyodor's father, mother, and sister were sitting in their apartment and scrolling through the news on the internet. The apartment was thick with shocking information and terrible details. They were all so terribly sorry the dinner ended like that. The guy's sister even sent a message to him. She said they loved him and would wait for him, but he didn't answer. He probably missed it. They were all on edge. Suddenly, Fyodor's mother said, "Oh, I feel something is wrong. It seems like something terrible happened. Svetlana, please don't worry. Everything's okay with him." The head of the family tried to convince her. "Mom, I feel that too," her daughter responded. Fyodor is fine. Stop it." His father continued. The female part of the family burst into tears. "Something happened," Svetlana continued to assure. After a while, they received a letter of condolences about the death of their son. They were crying bitterly. Even Fyodor's father, always stingy with emotions, couldn't hold back his tears. They told him not to leave, to stay with them. But their dear Fyodor was no longer alive. Why did they let him go? Fyodor's mother was leafing through the family album, which gradually turned wet. There were photos where he was so small, sitting on the sofa against the carpet. "I invited him to work together at the factory." Fyodor's father sighed. He was so young. The family made arrangements for the funeral. The government had already paid for the place. They dressed all in black. Their faces were pale. Even the snow didn't look as white as they did. The coffin came with documents not to be opened. That was probably a horrific sight. What the war had done to their son. The grave was ready. Birds were singing melodiously, saying goodbye to their Fodor forever. He would no longer hear them in the ground. He wouldn't hear anyone. They had to lower the coffin. The family couldn't even look at their son for the last time. That was unbearable. I don't know how we will live further. Fyodor's father said. He was a good son, the best. He was. Fyodor's mother cried. He will always live in our hearts. His sister tried to console everyone. But he could have been here with us if not for this damned war, his mother said, and wiped the tears from her face. How many more children will it take? Fyodor never abandoned his friends in trouble. His father continued. He always loved animals. Fyodor was curious and never stopped discovering new things. His sister added. He's a hero, but it's a pity he had to become one, his mother said. It still seems to me he is somewhere here, somewhere very close. There was a knock. Wait, Fyodor's father said. The knock repeated. Can you hear someone knocking? Knocking? Fyodor's mother responded in a dry voice. The knock repeated, and then everyone understood where it was coming from. Goosebumps ran down their spines, and they all crossed themselves. What is that? Fyodor's father asked. It's the knock from the coffin. So creepy. Fyodor's sister said. What are you waiting for? His mother shouted. Open it quickly. But we cannot. One of the funeral service workers responded. Open it, she shouted again. It took an effort, but they managed to open the coffin, and inside was a man with a burnt face, and he opened his eyes. He opened them, and he looked blankly at those around him. Ah! Fyodor's sister screamed. The worker got scared and accidentally slammed the lid shut, and then he opened the coffin again. Who are you? Fyodor wheezed. I'm your mother, Fyodor. Svetlana couldn't believe her eyes. She thought it was a dream. Don't you recognize me, son? I'm Fyodor, yes, but I don't know you. I'm sorry. Fyodor's voice gradually returned. He has amnesia. I read this could happen. Fyodor's sister intervened. I don't have amnesia, Fyodor explained. I just never knew you. His denial is okay. Fyodor's sister continued. Someone call an ambulance. Fyodor's mother begged. The ambulance arrived quickly. The doctor applied bandages to the guy's face, but didn't understand what had happened to him. However, the family decided not to explain anything. They all went home together, since Fyodor was otherwise fine. They came home and saw someone sitting there and drinking tea. The man turned around. That was Fodor. Well, family, your prodigal son has returned. Fodor smiled. Fyodor's father crossed himself and looked at the other Fodor. How can it be? I don't understand anything. Fyodor, his mother shouted, and rushed into his arms along with his sister. You are alive. Alive. Yes, Mom. Didn't you receive my letter? I wanted to call, but I couldn't. The phone crashed. Fodor asked. Fodor, the bandaged soldier shouted. Fodor, the first. Fodor looked at the soldier in bewilderment. Is that you? It's me. I thought you were dead. They sent you home to your family. Or rather, to yours, as I already understood. The second Fodor laughed. Two similar-looking dogs were sitting next to the first Fodor. What's going on? Fyodor's father asked, sighed, and sat down. What happened in this unusual story? Let's start with the second Fodor. In nature, there is a rare condition called catalepsy, due to which it seems the patient has died. It is impossible to check the pulse, and the body freezes as if it's a dead person. Unfortunately, many people were buried alive because of this condition. They were lucky when someone could hear and save them. Despite the injured face, the second Fodor wasn't dead. People usually report the information about their condition to their relatives and friends, but the guy didn't have time for that. Or maybe he didn't know about his condition at all. Let's move on to the first Fodor. What happened to him? During the explosion, he got thrown off to the side. His leg was seriously injured. He couldn't get up and didn't understand anything. Juchka didn't leave his side and continued barking throughout the battle until his fellow officers noticed that and took him to their military doctor. He put Fodor back on his feet, but didn't let him further participate in the war. Fyodor found out his friend had died. He was grieving heavily, but still got ready to go home. Fyodor wrote a letter to his family, but the notification about his alleged death came before the guy could get to his parents. And now, he had a cane and Zhuchka. The dog saved his life. If it weren't for her, who knows what would have happened? But how did they mix you up? The names are the same, but Fyodor's father asked. Meanwhile, Fyodor's mother ran to the store to buy a cake to celebrate the unexpected and pleasantly shocking news that her son was alive. Fyodor, what is your last name? The second Fyodor asked. The usual one, Sokolov, he answered and shrugged. Why are you asking? Mine is the same. Fyodor laughed. I was so lucky. If I had gone somewhere else, they would have buried me alive. Yeah. The first Fyodor chuckled nervously. You were lucky, but our middle names are different, right? I'm Petrovich, right, Dad? Yeah. His father wiped the sweat from his forehead and sighed heavily. He couldn't comprehend it all. And I'm Pavlovich, the second Fyodor said. That's fun, and of course, thanks to Zhuchka. Now, all the best bones are yours. Fyodor's family dog barked, displeased. Oh, we'll never leave you without lunch. The family joyfully reunited. After the guys settled all the issues with the documents, they decided they would open their business. And the choice was obvious. They opened a bakery and named it Lyubov in honor of the late mother of Fyodor Pavlovich. I've had enough of the war, the first Fyodor said. Yeah, you know, I've got an idea. What idea? If some of us start baking and others will eat the bakery, people will have no time to fight. Fyodor Pavlovich laughed. You're right, my friend, you're right. The first Fyodor repeated and put another batch of pies into the oven. Thank you for watching. Please support us with a like and subscribe to our channel. Write in the comments what you liked about the story. See you later.